good day and welcome to a new video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Heyo and welcome today. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my art piece. I am painting page 11. I'm doing a second kind of paint over, the final touches to my piece. It's been a long time coming and I've been working on this book for quite a while, and there's still a little bit to go, not too far, but just a little bit more to go, a little bit more of a push. Yeah, so welcome in. This is my channel. Usually, I have all sorts going on. I have chats with artists, I have weekly tips, and I have all sort of other videos. At the moment, lately, I've just been doing topics. I'd love to get artists in, but it is very challenging at the moment getting artists in. Um, it is always challenging finding artists to talk to that are willing to, give up about 45 minutes of their time to chat with me. But I have, talked to some amazing artists out there, and, in the future, I definitely have a few artists lined up already that will come into my channel. So, hopefully you're patient. There will be artists coming in to my channel, soon, hopefully. Anywho, today I had a certain topic I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk to you guys about climbing smaller mountains in your art career. And what I mean by this, really is, not just climbing big mountains, but, climbing smaller mountains, not going for the huge achievements all the time, is going for the smaller achievements. The ones we may kind of take for granted, some artists might take it for granted. I heard this in one of Adam Duff's video. He was talking, oh, I think it was Adam, no, it was Trent, sorry, it was Trent. I've I've definitely heard this in Adam Dusk videos as well, and Bobby Chio's, where they do chat about this kind of topic, but one of them was Trent, um, can't fully remember his last name, but you can look it up on YouTube. He's a great artist. Um, I have to find him on my YouTube channel at some point. Trent Kainigua. He's an awesome artist out there, and he does some great videos as well. He usually kind of paints or draws while he talks over his art. I don't think he regularly posts, as far as I know. I mean, I don't really watch his channel too often. But he had a video pop up not too long ago. Talking about not kind of just going for the big goal, not just kind of holding yourself off for the right studio. Um, you know, Kind of not just gearing up for, say, gearing up your stuff to just work for Disney, and you won't take, no for an answer, and you only work in, Disney or, Nickelodeon, wherever you want to work, you'll only work in that studio, so you gear up for that studio. Um, and it's the only job that you'll, take as if they give you a job. In a way, he kind of says that, and talks about how, you should kind of, you know, beginning from the start, you should take kind of any job you can get your hands on, really, because, it gives you experience, and what are those studios that you want to get hired from one day, Disney, Nickelodeon, what are they looking for? They're looking for experience. A lot of these jobs are looking for experience. So you do, if you want to get into one of those bigger studios, and at the moment you can't get yourself into it, getting yourself into smaller, studios, and smaller kind of roles and jobs out there, or, starting off, as a freelancer, even starting off as a freelancer or content creator, um, kind of getting the small things done. If you start off doing freelance and you only get, say, one job a week, that's 10, $15 or whatever. It's a start, and you gotta, uh, you know, push it and start it a little bit more. You can't just expect to right off the bat, get your enough money a week to pay the bills and stuff like that off of it straight away. Um, you know, so yeah, climbing smaller mountains. Um, Sorry for a second. I've still kind of had a little bit of a cough, but I've been back and forth with coughs at the moment. Um, and that's health. You gotta look after your health. As an artist, it's really important to look after it. It is, it's a challenging thing, especially, if you've got kind of a busy life schedule, or, you got to do a lot of creation, you got a lot of deadlines. It can kind of go to the wayside sometimes. Like for me, I've definitely gone into ruts in times where, I've got a really sore hand from drawing all day, or these things that, have caused problems and issues. Um, that didn't really look after my health because I was that busy, that worried and that focused on work, that my health went one wayside. And it's not really for the good point, because it stopped me for a little bit. And if um I didn't push it, if I pushed it a bit further, there could have been a little bit more issues that would have happened. Um, you know, I, for instance, with me sitting on my computer most of the time doing this rotoscopy um, project I was doing, it's like 13 hours a day or something actually sitting on my computer doing the rotoscopy. Um, so it's continuously doing it. It's continuously like sitting down, and um, you know, and by the end of it, I was just barely able to move. I was lucky, and then it was good that I still kind of kept my health as best I can. I went for a walk, and I was just aching, really, really aching. But I went for a walk, just to try and get my body back. It did kind of, I guess, hurt my body for a little while, and yeah, it wasn't the best, but I got through it, and that's the main thing. But yeah, you got to really look after your health. But um, you know, climbing smaller mountains, it's kind of like going to the world championships for something, or some sort of competitions or anything like that. Um, you know, you can't really go into the championships of something. For say instance, it could be championships of tennis, of like maybe martial arts, or um, maybe there's an arts championships or something that um, you go into. Not having experience, kind of been in any of these contests, and you know anything like that. You just go into it. Um, you kind of expect to, um, you know, you haven't had much training or anything like that in the subject, in the tennis or anything like that. You just been kind of doing it on your own. You can't kind of expect to, go straight in to it and think you're gonna win the championships. You know, um, you need to kind of have some experience, have maybe smaller contests and things you've gone in. For instance, like soccer, yeah, I played soccer in the day, and I used to just kind of play on my own, and we would there would be like lunchtime fun soccer events and just random people playing soccer. They'll join sometimes just for fun, um, or there would be we would play soccer in class or something like that as part of the sport sport time or whatever. Um, but eventually, I got better and better at doing soccer, and that's from, doing those smaller events that are just for fun, really. There were smaller events, then, in intermediate, which is the 2 years we get from primary school to high school. There's 2 years there. The first year I really wanted to get into the soccer team they had, but I didn't make the cut because I just wasn't as good as any of the other members. But the next year, I came back. I did the same kind of thing, played soccer in classes, played soccer the best I can with friends and things on the field when it was happening. I did the best I can with that, and then the next year came around, and I played pretty good. I got into the teams to play for that year, and we did pretty good. Back in primary, I went into a team and actually nearly won the whole thing, the whole region thing. We got second place out of our regions. Um, and same kind of thing happened for our school at high school. Um, with us, we really worked together. But if I didn't get those smaller goals, if I didn't just kind of push myself forward in those smaller little things and get better in those smaller little games, then I wouldn't have gotten better at doing the bigger games. You can't just turn up to the real thing and be the best. You know, so you have to kind of climb these smaller mountains. Um, yeah. Big mountains or big goals can be very daunting. Um, you know, maybe some big goals for you could be um, to land a job at Disney or to land a job at Nickelodeon, or, these big companies, or Disney Plus, streaming services or Netflix. That could be your ultimate big goal. Um, but you need kind of to get there, you need kind of smaller goals and smaller little mountains to climb before you get there. Um, a lot of these, talking about mountains, a lot of these mountain climbers, they don't go to the highest mountain um, first. A mountain climber wouldn't go to the highest mountain because you're not equipped right. You don't have enough experience at the top. There's a lot of like these really big mountains that people have died on because of all the climate that's up there. Their body's not used to the um, coping with the air that's up there. It's really, really cold. They, aren't careful enough because they haven't experienced those things before. Maybe a slip or fall or um, being lost or, knowing how to properly climb it and being safe and all that stuff. You know, if you, a first time newbie, climb the highest mountain in the world, um, then it's most likely you at least have to have someone with you to guide you. Um, it's it's really, really uncommon for someone, it is possible, to climb that big mountain and get that, achieved. It's possible in your first climb ever, and you climb the highest mountain, here in New Zealand. I think the biggest mountain we have is Mount Everest. And, you know, you could the first ever climb that mountain, but it's not likely you'd fully achieve that because without experience, without some knowledge doing it, and those things, it's gonna be really, really, really tough to do. Not impossible, you can go for the big goal, just the big goal, and definitely achieve it. Just go for the Disney and really hone in on that, and definitely um, kind of achieve it the best you can. But it is definitely going to be really, really, really challenging. It could even be, health risks, life risks, um, for you. There's a lot of risk, and having that experience, having those smaller mountains you've climbed, definitely lowers that risk. Because you've had experience. It's more likely, for instance, to get hired from Disney if you've kind of worked in the industry in little like smaller, maybe smaller studios, but you've worked in the industry, the in and outs of the industry because you worked in all these different studios. It's more likely that Disney will be like, yeah, well, you know what you're doing here. We can see um, what movies or games or whatever you've worked on. Um, you definitely we will give you a chance. It's more likely they will give you a chance if you do have that experience of climbing smaller mountains. Um, you know, um, and for me, thinking about this topic actually came from kind of this book and how it's a really kind of a big mountain. Um, but I've kind of been gearing up for it a lot. I've done um, before kind of this, I did another book, which isn't too successful, but it's there, and I managed it, and now, I'm doing this book. But even gearing up for that, I did smaller mountains first, so, or smaller goals first, smaller things. So first, with my course, I managed to build it up that way that I could not just gear up and do the book. I managed to break it up. One term of the course, I got to actually create characters for the book. Then once I created the characters, um, I then, had to take the characters and kind of write the story from there. And that was a challenge and a half too, and that comes from practice too. I've been really not too great with English, been really bad with writing. I'm English fluent, but I've had troubles with um, writing stories and all that kind of thing, making it flow and all that writing thing, and also communication hasn't been my strong point in my life. It hasn't been my strong point. Here I am, a YouTuber, not too strong at communication, but you know, um, to get that story, I had to go back a few years before that. I was failing English at school because I couldn't, I didn't really read the book too much, and then once they understood the book I was reading, it was like, well, how do I create a 1,500 word essay from that? I just couldn't do it, and that's what really kind of failed me. The only reason, my first year, where we call it NCA over here, uh, I don't know over in America and all those things. They probably have some sort of other papers that are really important. Um, you have like levels of skill here, where it's like, level one NCA. It's really thought of, you need kind of level two to get into some university in some places. level 3 higher universities, and then universities and stuff are usually like level 4 and level 5 and to level, I think, 9. Um, they go to pretty much. But I failed like the kind of first essays and stuff that I was doing at English just because I didn't know how to write them. Um, and after that, I went to design school, and there, I didn't really like it, but I had to do essays. Essays on art, so that was the positive thing. It was something um, I was interested in, so it wasn't too daunting. I think that's the main thing, is having a little bit of interest in it. If you have a little bit of interest, it makes it 10 times easier. If you have an essay and it's about art because you really like art and illustration, it's going to be 10 times more easier than you writing a novel about, say, science. Because you don't like science and you have to write one about science. It's got to be 10 times easier to write something you quite enjoy. So that was kind of a good thing that it was about art. Therefore, but I was still not good at writing. And you know, having failed, you know, English in school, I was like, I can't, I think there's kind of no way I can pass this. Um, but, I gave it kind of my all there because I knew, if I didn't do that essay, I wouldn't get my kind of art career, illustration, drawing career further because that was a requirement for that course, to push me further. So therefore, I kind of had to, get it done, which is, the motivator for it. Um, However, staying from that point has dramatically, um, helped me really, in a small way. From there, I worked with the teachers there, worked with the classmates I had, I worked with, um, yeah, other friends I had, I worked with families and family members and um, anyone I could kind of get help from, I did. And, eventually I passed the first essay, um, however, not with flying colors, I just kind of passed it. And then you could see me over there because we had a few essays to do, and over the years, um, I did get them a little bit better, better and better. And then, eventually now, I can write my own stories now. So it's gone from that level of not being able to write a thing and make sense, um, not have it all filled with ands and buts and all these weird sentences that kind of repeated themselves. Now I can really write a story and an essay if I really needed to. Not that I need to anymore, but I can do these things, which has been really awesome. If I didn't kind of work on that back then and get that skill up, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be creating this book, I don't think. I might have been illustrating someone else's book or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't have got where I am today. Yeah. So, having those smaller things, those smaller essays, small little goals, um, really does push you towards getting your big massive goal and your big mountain. It's getting me towards actually publishing this book. Um, and same with actually illustrating this book. Each page is kind of its own little mountain, and I'm just kind of climbing each mountain until I get to the final big mountain, which is, finally getting this book finished, pretty much ready for printed material. and then on to its next big adventure. Um, yeah, you know, yeah, awesome. It's definitely like practice, you know. You gotta really practice before you go into these championship things I've been talking about, you know. The bigger mountains. It is all practice, and you're not giving up on smaller mountains either. You know, at times, you know, when you first start out, you know, a kind of big goal. For instance, say if you're a YouTuber or someone like that, a big goal could be at the start to get 100 subscribers or maybe even 50. That's a really, really big thing. That's a thing that is really, really challenging to start out. Um, for a lot of YouTubers or creators to have their first 10,000 hours or 10 illustrations, you know, that is, or 10 really, really good illustrations or something like that, or their portfolio pieces or anything like that. That can be a really, really challenging mountain to climb to begin with. Um, you know, it really, really challenging to begin with. It was challenging for me to push my channel from, you know, I think it was about 50 because I had a couple of friends and things like that, and other places that, you know, I knew straight away to get 50 subscribers. So that's usually easy, but getting from 50 to 100 was really, really challenging trying to create interesting content and good content for people to look at, interesting videos and um, things, you know, starting off I didn't know what I was doing really. I was just creating videos off the bat, off the fly, and just, you know, doing these videos every now and again. I didn't kind of have a schedule. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of painting, doing these live stream things and just creating videos while I was doing my illustration stuff. I didn't fully know what I was doing, and then, you know, once I had kind of pushed it a little bit further by, then, you know, after a little while, I slowly went into doing this thing where I created a video each week, and it usually was with an artist. I did that for a little while until, you know, I ran out of artists and things, and then, you know, kept the videos going each week still. Um, but, you know, it would be like this, you know, certain different topics. Sometimes I would have artists in, sometimes I'd, you know, have some sort of stream I was doing, and then I kept that up and kept that up, and that slowly, you know, grew this channel and grew also my art and, you know, my art career kind of a thing. Um, you know, pushed it further. You know, climb the next big mountain is try to get to a couple more hundred subscribers and things like that. From there, I decided to do, you know, weekly tips to kind of gather a little bit more of an audience, you know, trying out shorter videos. Um, you know, it's meant to be just 5 minutes, so, you know, some artists that don't exactly want to watch these long 45-minute chats that I have, or these longer videos that I have with artists, they don't want to watch all of it. They've got these, you know, 5 minute weekly tip kind of things that I do. And that was another little big mountain, you know. And yeah, it was challenging at first, you know, doing those things, doing the weekly tips, keeping up with the weekly tips every week, and battling those challenging challenges and getting to kind of 500 subscribers and things like that. It definitely was really challenging. Um, but now, you know, I just keep it going and keep creating, and it's easier now to kind of climb those smaller mountains because I have, you know, been climbing them for quite a long time. creating these weekly tips. I've been doing it, creating them every week for the last like 2 years. I have been doing these weekly streams every week for the last 2 to 3 years, I think 3 years. So I've been climbing it every week, and I'm getting used to climbing these smaller mountains. So it's slowly becoming time for me to climb a bigger mountain. And that's the other thing, you climb all these smaller mountains and you get towards climbing that bigger mountain and what it is, your bigger goal. Um, Ultimately, my bigger goal is to become a full-time illustrator pretty much. Um, and it is still challenging to get there. But I'm slowly getting towards that goal by climbing these smaller mountains, these smaller achievements. Um, I'm slowly progressing to getting um, fully ready to properly, you know, be able to achieve and climb um, that goal. It is still challenging, but I definitely with pushing and pursuing and still working on these kind of smaller mountains and training for these smaller mountains and like doing the paintings and doing the weekly tips is really good because I am drawing new topics every week. I'm understanding animals not just on how they look, but a little bit more into drawing them and how to draw them, what their body structures are like, understanding all these animals' body structures. Doing these 90-minute art challenges too are awesome because it is a challenge in itself. It's a little kind of mountain, a little goal in itself because you have to do this painting within 90 minutes. And it does kind of it gets me painting for a whole hour and a half straight. um, I really have to push it and know what I can achieve within an hour and a half, and it's so good to do them. It's fun and interesting to do them. You don't know if you're actually going to get it painted fully within the hour and a half either. Um, those kind of things, it's still challenging, but you do them more, you climb the mountain more, you do those 90-minute art challenges more over and over again, you get more used to climbing those 90-minute art challenges, doing those 90-minute art challenges, and I do recommend yourself to do them, um, because yeah, like I say, they definitely give you an insight of what you can do within 90 minutes. They level your art skills up, uh, help you kind of train, I guess, for 90 minutes. Um, if you want to get into a studio, there are, sometimes you would have to do a concept within an hour and a half, I guess, um, and those kind of things. So doing these 90-minute art challenges can get you towards kind of that, doing, um, getting to your ultimate goal. So, doing the 90-minute art challenge, I would recommend. It is obviously challenging, for me to fit them in. I'd have to give up an hour and a half of painting on this book, um, or something like that, but it is not so much time that I'm not willing to give that up, but it is helpful. If you've got all the time in the world, there's no stopping you. I don't see why you can't do it. But for me, I only have about an hour and a half a night, so I have to give up one night's work, worth work of either me working on weekly tips or doing this video. So it could take a toll if it could take a toll if I keep doing the art challenges, I guess, um, on this channel and on the videos I do create. But usually it's all good to do that 90-minute art challenge one night, and the rest of the week I'm painting. And I still kind of keep up with the YouTube video. I make that 90-minute stream into a video anyway, so it does give me another week to keep painting on a page if I'm painting on a page. Um, Also, each challenge is different. No two challenges, no two goals, no two mountains are the same. Um, so there's gonna be different challenges. It's why like a really, really big mountain or really, really big goal is gonna be way more challenging. There are, even if you do kind of prepare for it, the challenges um, in this ultimate goal, uh, like say for instance, like becoming a freelancer. Um, there's got to be lots of challenges in that, and becoming a full-time freelancer. Your first, say, goal would be, to get any kind of work, any freelance work, um, and then you'd slowly progress to getting your dream kind of freelance work in a way, or freelance work that suits you a little bit more. You slowly progress to being able to be full time at it. Um, but climbing that mountain is gonna give you things you can't prepare for. For instance, maybe time management might be one thing where you might get too much work, and it's understanding, what freelance work jobs that you're gonna say no to, or what jobs you're gonna um, you know, learn to say no to, and these kind of challenges that come up that you are, with the amount of experience you've had, still, don't have a clear answer. It's still challenging. Um, for instance, kind of writing this book. I haven't wrote this book before, so challenges occur. The wording, um, or even painting this book, uh, posing the character in a certain way. I've never posed this character in that way before. Therefore, um, I had to kind of play around. Same with, his head. I came up with a problem. Um, which, his head was a little bit too big. From there, made his head smaller. Um, yeah. And put that in, made his head smaller, and fix that up. But I didn't know uh, fully how to deal with the pose and everything like that beforehand. Um, it was a new challenge, and new challenges do come up all the time. Um, there's no stopping that. However, with the experiences you've had, with the paintings you've done, with, for me, experiencing painting this whole book, it's easier to paint and draw Henry and the cat here than it was before I started the book. Now I can pose him easier, I could draw him up easier with a more interesting dynamic pose, and still achieve it. I would have challenges, there might be, at some point his paw might be looking off, or his feet might be looking off, or his head might be too small or too big. However, I deal with those challenges. I know, roughly how to deal with those challenges and things like that. Um, so I'm a little bit more prepared. However, I still have to kind of figure out that solution. So yeah, hopefully, you know, you've enjoyed this video. Um, you've learned something new. Hopefully, you climb a little bit more smaller mountains, and um, go for some goals away, or kind of waiting for your big goal. You know, try to achieve some smaller things. Like instance, if you want to be a YouTuber, a content creator, create your first video and maybe make it that you create a video each week, or get that achieved, and keep that going. Get to your first 100 subscribers, or Illustrator, freelancer, get your first job. And just keep that going, and climb those smaller mountains before you get to going for those bigger goals, bigger mountains. Yeah, that's been my experiences and my kind of 2 cents towards that topic. Like I said, there are a lot of artists that do talk about a topic similar to this, that are pretty good, and it is definitely an important topic to think about when going for an art career, any kind of career in a way, because you can't be a master chef without creating or cooking. You can't just go into the master chef without ever cooking anything, because you might be born with it. It's possible you might be born with it, um, but you probably either fall flat, or um, you know, but you're definitely going for those bigger mountains, those bigger goals. You learn things along the way of doing that bigger goal, um, in the end. And you might fall over tremendously, but don't give up. If you can't get to the tippy toes of that goal you're after, that thing you're after, um, you can slowly just go towards smaller goals, and get those achieved. Get some experience in smaller studios and smaller freelance jobs, those kind of things. Just try and get something. Awesome. Um, Thanks for tuning in today. It's been awesome having all you guys coming into my YouTube channel, commenting on my videos, and checking out my videos. It's amazing. Keep creating, guys. Keep drawing, and see you in the next video.